Sault Ste. Marie is all about creating community for our local entrepreneurs. We're trying to build a startup ecosystem that supports all of the entrepreneurs in the community, new entrepreneurs and older entrepreneurs who have been established for a long time. So we're trying to really create a support system through events like this, where we can get to know existing entrepreneurs and we can learn from each other and support each other. So thanks for coming. I want to thank Northern Credit Union for supporting this speaker series. Unfortunately, nobody's here from Northern. They're all sick, but I hope they're doing better. We will be doing a draw, though, at the end of the night. So Northern has supplied a gift package. So again, thanks very much for coming. Without further ado, I want to introduce someone who needs no introduction. Marnie Stone is a long-time entrepreneur in Sault Ste. Marie. She's a community builder. She's been involved in a lot of efforts to make Sault Ste. Marie a great place to live. So please welcome Marnie Stone.
Welcome, everyone, and thank you for taking time out of your very busy days to be here and get together and share some knowledge. Like Nevin said, my name is Marnie Stone, and I am the owner of Stone's Office Supply in downtown Sault Ste. Marie. We're a family-owned business since 1927, entering our fourth generation. We'll be celebrating our 100th anniversary in 2027, and we're starting to make plans for that celebration, and I'm really super excited about that. It's going to be a great party, so keep an eye on your mailbox for your invitation. I would just like to get to know you. So if we could just go around the room and say who you are and what you do, that would be really wonderful. And we'll start. So thank you, everyone, for sharing who you are and what you do. It's always really wonderful to know who is in the same room. It's something that I think is very helpful in networking events, that everyone knows who's in the room and what they do. And perhaps with just that little introduction, you made some connections amongst yourselves. I know that I did. So met some new people, gonna get myself organized, maybe take some acting lessons. So I think that's all part of networking and the importance of meeting the people in a room like this. The next thing that I wanted to do is I wanted to share a gift with you for taking time to be here this evening. And as you know, I am the owner of Stone's Office Supply. And so I brought along my favorite paper and my favorite pen for each of you to take with you. So I'm just going to distribute those. That'd be great. So the notebook, I'm just going to describe it, is the coolest notebook ever because it is made from crushed stones. Okay, like right, for Stone's Office Supply, did we not have to have this notebook? And when you write on this paper of crushed stones with my favorite pen, the Jurasa Gel, comes in 3 colors. You can get a gold barrel, a black barrel, or a navy blue. I brought some of each, and hopefully you'll get the color that you like. And it just glides absolutely beautifully across this paper. And so Nevin's gonna help pass these out, and it's my gift to you for taking time to be here this evening. And with that little gift too, and I'll touch on this a little later, will be a little sticker. This is a company that my husband and I launched in 2020, February of 2020, called the Borderline Radio. And it's an internet radio station that broadcasts local musicians and podcasters 24/7. And we launched it February the 29th. It was a leap year, so it was the 29th of February. And just a couple of weeks later, the whole world shut down. And it really was kind of a blessing for this particular endeavor because we've been able to build the site, build the brand, collect more music, reach more countries. And so you're going to get a little sticker that you can put wherever you please. So I'm just going to start at beginning, and I did make a few little pointers because I didn't want to forget anything and I wanted to keep the flow going. But I'll just start. In my younger years, I was a figure skater, and I've got a couple of colleagues here, some friends that I met through figure skating, Richard and Lisa Roy. I skated with them at the Sioux Figure Skating Club. We had the same figure skating coach. And figure skating was a huge part of my life growing up. I started when I was about 3 years old, and I competed until I was about 16. And as an only child, the ice rink was like my family. All the other kids that skated there became like brothers and sisters. And we have very fond memories of very early mornings at the rink, freezing cold, skating for a couple of hours before we went to school, because the hockey players had all the great ice. So we would skate for a couple of hours and then head to school almost every day. And it was a wonderful part of my growing up. And I think I was probably in about grade 3 or 4, and I started helping out at the family business, which was Stone's Office Supply. I would go there after school, and my first job there was stamping the bags with our logo. We had a huge rubber stamp. It was huge, and I remember I would have to roll it on the stamp pad and then roll it on the paper bag. And I would get 10 cents for every 1,000 bags that I would stamp, and it was child labor at its finest. But that was my first little task at Stone's Office Supply. And as I grew up, I would learn to straighten shelves and stock shelves. I remember back in the day, we would have, do you know what carbon paper is? You remember? Some of you might be too young to know what carbon paper is, but I remember back in the day, we would have a whole section filled with carbon paper. There was all different kinds of carbon paper for typewriters. There was carbon paper for pen and pencil. There was carbon paper for pen, and it came in different colors, different sizes. And I remember having a whole section of just carbon paper back in the day. And now I think in our store currently, we probably have one SKU of carbon paper. It's not a very popular thing these days. But that was probably my very first beginnings, was stocking shelves, cleaning shelves, stamping the bags. And it was always a comforting place to go. I loved the store. I loved the smell of paper. I loved experimenting with all the different pens that came in. And it was comforting to me. And the time went by very quickly, and I felt so at home there. It was great. And then as I got into high school, I would work on Saturdays and learn a little bit more about more responsibilities with cash and waiting on customers and making change, and customer service was installed at a very early age, that when you take care of your customer, then they come back. If you give them a good experience, they'll remember you and they'll come back. And if you are fair and polite, then that is the best thing that you can do for your customer. So I learned that at a very early age. And then after high school, I went to Algonquin College for 1 year of, I call it general arts and partying, because I really wasn't that serious. And I thought, well, I've got to give it at least 1 year to say that I gave it a chance. But I really wasn't an academic. I was a people person, more creative. And during that year, I had an opportunity to go to Ryerson and audition for the theater arts program. And I thought, well, I'm going to give this a try. It would be very cool to be an actor. And so I jumped on a train, and I took the train from Ottawa to Toronto, and I had the audition appointment. And I walked into Ryerson, It was a huge auditorium. There must have been like 400 students there. And we were herded like cattle. We would get up and move the next row, and you were given a script, and you had to get up on the stage and say a few lines. And thought, I can do this. This will work. I could see my name in lights. And I got to be, I think, the fourth person from next. And I chickened out. And I stood up and I exited stage left. And it might be, I don't have many regrets in my life, but I often think about if I would have just leaned into that fear. Sometimes when you do, some of the greatest breakthroughs happen when you just lean into it and jump anyway. And as I matured, I made more of those leaps, but that wasn't a time for me to leap at that particular audition. So Hollywood did not call, and I still think it would be fun to be part of live theater, though. I know it takes a lot of time. I have friends that take part in local live theater. It's a big commitment, and it's lots of rehearsals, and I often think it would be fun to give it a try one day, and who knows, maybe I will. Maybe you can hook me up there. So after college, I really made the realization that the family business was where I was going to be most comfortable. And I thought, I'm going to make my way back to the Sioux, and I'm going to start in the family business. And I've never really looked back. My father has been an excellent mentor to me, teaching me all the things that matter in business, financial things, customer service, inventory levels. But the office supply business has really changed a lot since I started in the 1980s. And the offices have changed and products have changed, and we've really had to do a lot of pivoting over the last little while. And I remember, I think it was in the 90s, Staples announced that they were moving to Sault Ste. Marie. And I remember we were really intimidated by that. But in 1980, we had the foresight of joining a buying group called Canadian Independent Stationers. We had been approached by the founder of that organization, and it's basically a buying group for independent dealers where we all band together as one and go to the manufacturer for best pricing. And so we joined Canadian Independent Stationers in 1980. They have a head office in Guelph. We're still a charter member of that group. It is now called Canadian Workplace Solutions. We've joined with the Basics Group and the Guild Group, and we are now one big group of Canadian independents across Canada. And we meet twice a year, and the head office organize our contracts with the vendors on our behalf and allow us to stay competitive in the field where the power channels get really great pricing. We can compete because we are all banded as one. And we, as I say, get together twice a year, and it's a very great networking opportunity. We always learn from each other. As independents, we learn what each dealer is doing in each market and how they're handling competitors and how they're giving back to the community, which is something that you don't really see a lot from the power channels and the big boxes. You don't often see them sponsoring anything or giving back much to their community. Whereas Stone's prides itself, because you support us, we are able to give back to the community by way of sponsorships and donations. And really, we try to be as community-minded as we can. And it's one of the greatest parts, I find, of my job, to be able to give back and make our city even greater than it already is. We've been downtown since the beginning. In 1927, it was called Leask Office Equipment, and my grandfather bought that business in the late 50s and changed the name to Stone's Office Supply. So it hasn't always been called Stones. It was changed to reflect our family name, but the business has been in existence since 1927. And when my grandfather bought it, it was at the foot of Pilgrim Street, right where the hair salon is. That was the original store. And then we moved to where Missinabie Cree, where Center Stage Ladies Clothing. We were in that location for several years, renting at that point. And then the building where we currently are located at 529 Queen came for sale. And my father had the vision to purchase the building. And we moved into that current location in about 1980. And we've been there ever since. So being downtown is integral. I'm really proud of our downtown. I've currently gotten onto the downtown board of directors, Queenstown board of directors. And downtown has had a rough go of late. There's been many changes down there, and there's problem with mental health and addictions. And it's not just Sault Ste. Marie, it's everywhere. And I think these people really deserve hope and love and direction and a place for healing. And so I hope that these facilities are becoming available to them, the old Sault Ste building being one, and other supports that are coming up throughout the city too, through Canadian Mental Health and various other locations. I feel for the people, and we hear this comment with the plaza that's going in next door to us downtown, where they're building the splash pad and the rink and the amphitheater, and Mill Market's going to be moving in there, and it's going to be a gathering place for our downtown. And I know many people are feeling negatively about that, how much money it's costing, and that the city should be, fixing the potholes and helping the people with mental health and addictions. But they don't understand that the money was earmarked for this development, and that our downtown has and deserves to be vibrant and safe and a place for people to gather. And my stand on the plaza is very positive, that I think it's going to have lots of great events, and it's going to be a great place for families to gather. It's going to be filled with children splashing in the pool and skating on the rink. And we have great plans for the band shell, local entertainment. And I think it's going to be a great addition to our downtown. There are many, many positive things happening in our city, and I think that is one of them. There are a lot of great people with vision, and I like to lean towards those people and not the naysayers. And that's another thing too that I think is very important as an entrepreneur, and when you have a vision for a business, that you surround yourself with people that are building you up and supporting your vision. And if you have friends or family that are negative Nancy's or downer Dougs, then you just need to put them aside for a little bit, and you need to make sure that you keep yourself around the people that are cheering you on and lifting you up. Books are another great thing too that are really important. What you read. I choose not to read the news. Sorry, Brian, but I find that the news very disturbing and sad, and I figure if it's bad enough, I'll hear about it from someone. But I find when I watch the news, it just brings me down, and I really like to try and keep my focus on things that are raising the world up and the good things that we can do to help our fellow neighbor and our family and our friends, and try and stay as positive as I can. So I've had to eliminate some things from my life, but I don't regret that, because we all have 24 hours in each day. It's very precious, the time that we have and how we spend it. And we never get that back. So if you can do a good deed or read a good chapter in a book or watch something enlightening and educational, inspiring. That to me is super important if you're wanting to stay positive and entrepreneurial. And it's just what I've chosen to do. So when Staples announced that they were coming in, we were like little rabbits shaking, thinking, oh, this great behemoth is moving in. We're going to be creamed. What are we going to do? And oddly enough, fascinatingly enough, I think business dipped about 10% that year and came right back the next and has been growing ever since. And, you know, I think competition is healthy and competition keeps you on your toes. And looking back, we didn't need to be afraid of them. As big as they are and as powerful as they seem, it was a great experience to get through that and to see the numbers, to see that you preferred to shop with us, with someone who knows your name, who is a real person when you answer the phone, who delivers free the same day, who gives back to the community. And those are the strengths that we are so grateful for, and so grateful because we know that you have a choice. When you're going to buy a pen or a pencil or a Post-it note, you've got a million choices. You can go to the dollar store, you can go to Walmart, you can go to Canadian Tire, you can go to the drugstore, you can go to Amazon, you can go to Staples. There's a million places where you can buy office supplies these days. And so we are truly grateful when we see you either place an order online or give us a call or come into our store physically. We are so grateful that you continue to choose Stones and allow us to be making plans to celebrate our 100th anniversary. Because without our customer, we wouldn't be doing those things. And I wouldn't be able to say that my daughter is going to be the 4th generation coming in. And she's so super excited. 27 years old, she's done her traveling. She got a diploma at Algonquin College in business marketing. And she came back after that experience and said, Mom, I've made my decision. I really want to step into the family business. And if I could have done a back handspring, I would have. Because I really didn't know, there was really no succession plan, and it's tough to sell a business these days. And I really didn't know what was going to happen. So I was super overjoyed. And we really work well together. We have a lot of fun together. She's taking the business to the next level. She's got some really great ideas. She's a rock star on social media. She's not afraid of computers and automating. That is one thing we need to do now, is automate. We've done all our purchasing and our bookkeeping manually. My father has a journal. You can go back 43 years in it, I think, and you can see what the weather was. You can see how much money's in the bank. You can see what the sales were that day. If we were closed because it was a snowstorm, you can see everything. It's all entered in a hard-bound journal in a pencil. And so Sophia is taking Stones into the 21st century, and we're getting automated, and it's going to be a really great step for us. We're going to be able to do more things with the time that we're going to be saving walking around the store, counting things manually, making our order. So I'm super excited about that. In the last couple of years, my husband, Adrian Valaka, and I have purchased a building downtown on the corner of Queen and Spring, the old Scotia Bank. And we have renovated the second floor. It is called the Art Hub at Spring. And we have created 10 independent art studios and an art gallery where we feature local artists. And we have a different art exhibition each month featuring a local artist. And the studios were rented right away. There's a waiting list for them. And it is such a wonderful community of artists that are learning from each other and getting inspired by each other. And so grateful to have a place to hang their work and to show their work. And from that experience, we realized that there were other artists and artisans that also deserved a place to show their work. Potters and jewelry makers and sculptors and fabric artists. So we had a building come up across the street from Stone's that used to be Street City Realty, and that business went online, and so the space was available. And we thought, well, let's expand the Art Hub at Spring into this space, and we'll call it the Artesian, keeping with the water theme. And we filled that space with these other artisans that are so grateful to have a place to show their work. And it's been a great experience there too. So between the Borderline Radio, the Artesian, the Art Hub at Spring, and Stone's Office Supply, we've created a nice little dynamic of creativity and arts and culture that we hope can raise the ship of all of the people in Sault Ste. Marie that are also trying to do the same. The Art Gallery of Algoma Museum's doing an incredible job with their displays and their art exhibitions there too. Main Street Cafe is doing art exhibitions. I know the Home Bakehouse. There are many little organic places popping up with creativity, and Adrian and I are just trying to raise the ship of all of those places together. We don't look at it as a competitive situation. We want to collaborate with each of them and lift each other up and create a vibe. Like the drawing club, you're doing amazing things there too. Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, there are so many incredibly talented people, and so much good comes from art. I believe art can be very healing. We have a new series starting at the Art Hub with Tiffany Kaiko. She's a registered art therapist and psychotherapist. We're going to try 3 sessions, May, June, and July, and we're going to offer them for free to the community. 3 sessions with mindfulness, meditation, an art exercise, and some journaling. And we're going to, the first one I think is almost full. We have a cap of 30. And we're gonna give those 3 a try and then kind of recalibrate over August and see if we should continue them or tweak them a little bit. And we're super excited to be able to offer people that want to come together, meet other intellectual, inspirational people too. You know, it's difficult in the last little while. Where do you meet people? Where do you go? The bar scene is kind of like, I don't know, I just turned 60 and 10 o'clock is, I'm out. So it's really nice to create a community where people can come together and meet over something creative and community building. So we're open to collaborate. If you have an idea or something that you would like to host at either the Art Hub at Spring or the Artesian, or if you're a podcaster and you want to have your own show on the Borderline, we would love to talk to you and speak to you about that. And there's lots of opportunity. We're also expanding our art department at Stone's too, and that's been a real fun task. We've just had a merchandiser in, getting rid of some old stock. And hi, Jen. How are you? Oh, that's okay. We did introductions at the beginning, so if you could just tell us who you are and what you do, because everybody did it. Yeah, so tell us who you are, what you do.
Hello, everybody. I'm Jennifer. I run an immigration company, so I help people with all the paperwork related to immigrating, help employers get the approval they need to hire a foreign worker. And then also my favorite part is intercultural training. So I do EDI change management and just really fun experiential learning to support the diversification of our workforce. And I love my work so much.
Thanks, Jen, and you're very good at what you do. I can tell you're super passionate about your job. They're lucky to have you. So just to wrap up, I have so much gratitude for our customers, and I really like to try and give you an experience when you come into the store, no matter whether you call or email. We want to wow you and we want to give you a great experience. And we are so eternally grateful for the support of people with Sault Ste. Marie. We love to give back to the community as much as we can, and because you support us, we can support our community. So when you make a choice of where you're going to shop, we don't take that lightly. When you walk through our door or call us, we truly appreciate that. I just want to thank you for taking time to be here and to network and to learn and hopefully become inspired. I wish you the best of luck on your entrepreneurial journeys, wherever that takes you. And I have an open door. If you ever need advice or you need to get connected with someone, I like to think of myself as a connector in Sault Ste. Marie. And so if there's anything that I can do to help you find what you need, please know that I'm always here to help you. And always remember to stay around people that build you up. As an entrepreneur, I think it's one of the most important things that you stay around positivity. And thanks again for being here.
Thank you so much, Marnie. I wanted to give everyone in the audience a chance to ask any questions you might have. Kelly, I'll bring the mic over.
Thanks for that question. The Sioux Women in Business was, it was probably 10 years maybe that women's business group started. And I was inspired at one of our office CIS spring meetings that we get together with the buying group. There's a gal, the wife of another office dealer that started, she's a real estate agent, and she started one in Southern Ontario, and it was called MAF, Milton Area Female Entrepreneurs or something. So I thought it was a great idea. They got together once a month, and I basically stole the idea. And I thought, well, I'm going to start one in the Sioux. And so I did, and called it SWIB, Sioux Women in Business. And we meet once a month at North 82. There's no RSVP required. It's the last Thursday of each month. You can show up, bring a friend. We meet from noon to 1. So tomorrow we meet, because it's the last Thursday. It's a shortened menu because we have a private room in the back. And we all introduce ourselves like we did here tonight. I think that's really important to know who's in the room. And we have a guest presenter each month. Tomorrow we're hearing from Imagine Laser Works, and her first name is, I just sent the email out. It'll come to me. And so we're hearing from her. She has a really fascinating business. And so it's a great group through COVID, like anything. Thank you. Thank you very much. So we're going to hear from Juanita. And through COVID, it was pretty tough, as we all really had a tough time through COVID. We look back now and think, what the heck was that? Look what we were just through. And we all made it, you know. And I'm sure we all had our challenges through that too. It was just an incredible time. But hopefully that's in the rearview mirror. And we can see each other's faces again, which is great. And get out and do things. So thanks for asking about SWIP.
Any other questions? Okay, I see one more. Before I hand the mic off, I just had a question too. You've been an entrepreneur for a long time, and you've been involved in a lot of initiatives to build a community. What advice would you give people in the audience to maybe get involved in building up the community? I know you mentioned it in your talk, but is there any advice or things you would say?
Yeah, that's a great question, Nevin. I would just encourage you to get involved with different groups, you know, like SWIB, like Rotary, like the Chamber of Commerce, other StartUP Sioux. Strive is another fabulous. We went to a couple of Strive events, and wow, the future of our city is in really great hands. Michaela, you're a member of Strive, aren't you? You will be. Yeah. Yeah, it's a super great group, and they're doing a lot of really wonderful things. So there's lots of really great organizations that connect regularly, and it's there's NOLA too, and I think there's some things going on through Sioux Community Career Center. They have lots of groups that meet regularly as well. And through those groups, they have activities where they do regular things that give back to the community. I know Rotary is just getting ready to celebrate their 100th anniversary, and it's going to be a really amazing time. And there's many service clubs, Lions Club, Kiwanis, and my family has been Rotarians for many years, so something that I grew up in and naturally fell into that. It's a good fit for me, but there's lots of really great organizations that you can plug into, that you can meet other people, like-minded people that are giving back to our community. Are you, Judah, are you referring to, it's Judah, right? Are you referring to the office supply business, or, yeah, Canadian Independent Stationers was envisioned by an independent office supply owner in Guelph. And he could see that these power channels were gaining strength, Grandin Toy, Staples. And he thought, why can't the independents all gather together and pool their orders to the manufacturer instead of each individual dealer placing an order? We're going to pool it all to one head office, and that head office is going to place the order on behalf of the independents. So we have all of that volume behind us instead of one independent dealer. There's some pretty big independent dealers in Canada that are very successful. And so we all banded together from Victoria to St. John's, Newfoundland to Yellowknife. So we are 65 plus independent dealers. And some of them are very large in Vancouver, Toronto area. There's some super big dealers. And so little old Stone's Office Supplies became a member, and we can benefit from all of that collective data and buying power. And looking back now, it was one of the greatest decisions that we made to join that idea, that group. And it's just gotten bigger and stronger too. They help us with our website, they help us with our catalogs, with our flyers, they negotiate all the prices with the manufacturers, they check pricing for us. There's no way that I could do that as an independent. I don't have the body power to stay on top of that market. It would cost us a fortune. So the head office takes care of all of that. And I think it's probably one of our biggest challenges as an independent is to communicate that to our customer, that just because we're an independent, a mom and pop, don't think that we're more expensive, because we're not, because we've got this buying power behind us. And that is something that we have to try and market and promote every single day, because Staples has a huge marketing budget, and they're in your face on Pinterest, on Instagram, they come up in your Facebook feed. Their presence is huge. What's that? Right. Yeah. Right. They all scatter, right? Yeah. So that is our biggest challenge, is to overcome the assumption that just because we're a local mom and pop family business, that it's going to be more expensive at Stone's. Oftentimes, it's the same or less. And people are pleasantly surprised. And I always love that too, when people make that realization. So that is the story of the buying group. Thanks for that question, Stephen. I think the number one thing for me downtown that I hear almost every single day is parking. Parking. And we need to change that parking model and make it easy for people to park and not have someone jump out at them after 10 seconds and put a ticket on your dash. That is pissing people off, and they don't want to come back downtown again. We have to make it easy. Guelph has an amazing 2-hour complimentary parking everywhere in their downtown. I've been in touch with their city council, and they're willing to work with us to help us implement the same type of program. It's going on 7 years old, I think, in Guelph, and it had its little hiccups at first, but it's working really well. And I think it's a really, really important thing for our downtown to be accessible and for people to have ease and not have to manipulate those meters that 9 times out of 10 don't work, and they're covered in snow or they're frozen, or you have to climb over the snowbank to get your ticket, then climb back over the snowbank. People just say, now I'm going to go to the mall, or I'm going to just go to Staples where it's free parking. We need to make our downtown easy for and welcoming for the motorist. And that's my number one thing that I think that we need. And I'd also like to see the street go two-way again. I think when you come off the bridge, you should be able to turn left right at West Side Cafe and come down Queen. It was originally two-way, but in the 50s, when there was like 14,000 people working at Algoma Steel, they needed a thoroughfare to get everybody into the plant. And that's not the case anymore. And every time I'm in a city, I make note of their downtown. And 99.9% of the time, it's two-way, and there's parking on both sides. Sometimes it's angled, sometimes it's end-to-end, but I would really like to see two-way again. That visitor that's coming across the bridge is going straight down Bay Street, around by the Bush Plane, and right out of town. I mean, there are some signs to say turn left to go into the downtown, but I think if the traffic was able to go down, it would slow the traffic down. It would have people take the time to look and see what stores are downtown. And I think it would be a beneficial thing for our city to have it two-way again. Thanks, Michaela, for that question. I think instinct is really important, to listen to your gut. I know that when we purchased the building on the corner of Queen and Spring, and I remember looking over there and envisioning, I was standing there with Tom Sinclair. He's a local woodland artist, and we were doing an art event outside of the store. And I remember looking over at that building. We knew it was for sale. And I remember saying to him, Tom, wouldn't it be great if we could buy that building and turn it into an art gallery and art studios? And there was doubt, because there's a cost to that and all of the things that go with an endeavor. But I always try to go to my instinct and to what I'm feeling, and the trust that the universe is going to provide once you commit to that and lean into it and say yes. The universe is an incredible, incredible, magical, mystifying, beautiful thing. I probably have an experience every single day with the universe delivering something. I think, how the heck did you do that? I just threw that out as a little thing to the universe, and look, it manifested itself. It's really quite incredible. You ask for something, and the universe somehow delivers it to you, and you have no idea how that happened. You have no idea all of the magical beings that are working all around you all the time, the energy and the angels and everyone that's trying to make things happen for you. So getting back to the doubt, I try to focus on the instinct. And if it's really strong in my gut, I rely on the universe is going to arrange and guide me to make it happen. And then I rid myself of all the negative Nancys and the downer Dougs, and I read positive things, and I don't listen to the news, and I laser in, and I really keep my eye on that and laminate myself to all the rest. It's fun. I used to in high school, and I haven't really taken the time, although I did have the inspiration to try pastel. And so I did my first pastel, and I posted it on my Instagram feed, and I put a price of $444 million on it. And I said, just DM me if you're interested. It went pretty quick. Pastels have been kind of pulling at me. So I need to make time for that. Yeah, it's fun. Art is fun, and it's an important thing to experience those mediums for sure. Your kind words, Victoria. Thank you. And I'm looking forward to see your pieces at the next exhibition. Good for you. And a black belt. Ooh, watch out for Victoria. I don't have plans to write a book. No, that's very interesting thought. Maybe one day, but I have not thought of that. And for self-care, I go back to no negative Nancys, no downer Dougs, no news, reading positively, staying, fixed on the vision, and trying to be around like-minded people that inspire me and lift up the community as much as possible. My friendships, like I said, I've had to let some people go. I just can't have space for that. And I love them still, but I am going in this direction. And if you want to come in this direction, come on along. But if you want to stay here and gossip and complain and have bad habits of things, I wish you well, but I'm going this direction. I always wash my face every night. And I choose happiness, and I choose positivity. It's a choice every day. And it's just so fun to make those positive choices. It's who I am. I can't fake that.
Before we end, I just had one question. I've been an entrepreneur for a long time, and I'm really passionate now that I have my own daughter. She's 9 years old. She started her first business when she was 5. And I wanted to ask Marnie for advice on how our community can make opportunities for young entrepreneurs, and maybe if you have some thoughts about that.
That's awesome. What a good role model she has in you. And I see your next book is about that, isn't it? And we can't wait to have it in our local author section. And you'll be doing an interview with Lisa Tucker too. That's great. Lisa does a podcast on the borderline called The Book Cover, and she interviews local authors. And we have a space within the Artesian for all the local authors. There's children's authors and adult authors. There's a lot of published authors in the zoo. Quite impressive. And Nevin has his books there too. But for the children, I would encourage other businesses to embrace that. And maybe she can do a little pop-up within the downtown businesses if she's interested. Piggyback on existing businesses. When there's events going on, maybe have a sidewalk set up or within the store. I'd be willing to collab with her on that. And maybe we should start a little youth entrepreneur association group to mentor the young ones coming up. Maybe that's something you and I could talk about. And I could provide space for that in our furniture showroom or something. They could meet once a month. We could give them little activities to do and nurture those young minds. It's a brilliant idea. But I think there are many business owners that can be good examples and provide space and support for, I never drive past the lemonade stand. I always stop. And if I do pass, I'll turn around and come back. And I teach my kids that too. And sometimes I cry. Like, I'm just like, oh my gosh, you're just so adorable. Pay $5 for this lemonade. It's such an inspiration to see these young kids taking that leap. So I think we can do a lot as owners, set the example to give them space, and perhaps we can follow up and talk about doing a little mentorship club. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And it just so happens that I announced yesterday that we're launching Venture Kids, and it's a summer camp for kids at Algoma University. So we're looking forward to, we're going to do 1 week this year, and if it goes well, we'll expand next year. 8 to 12. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. My daughter says that she is the manager of operations, and I have to run everything by her for decisions. So she's really becoming the boss. Yeah, fantastic. Well, thanks again, Marnie. We so appreciate your wisdom and your coming out tonight to share your story. I hope everyone in the audience enjoyed it as much as I did. Thank you so much. We look forward to continuing the Startup Talk series so we can have Sault Ste. Marie's top entrepreneurs sharing their journeys, and we can learn so much from the wisdom and experience they have. Thank you very much.